good go-to person for all of this uniqueness that comes with Arizona history, and we appreciate your time today.
Thank you, guys.
You might have guessed by now that not many people live in Y, Arizona. At last check, it was 87 people. We do know what puts the Y in Y, Arizona, and this is it behind me, this stretch of pavement right here. One part goes that direction, and the other part goes in that direction. And it's even a better view from our drone above. It spells out the letter Y perfectly. Okay, that's a wrap from Y, Arizona. So what did we see today? Well, we saw the Why Not travel store.
We went to Granny's Kitchen.
And we actually saw the Y in the road that puts the Y in Y, Arizona.
So why should people visit Y, Arizona?
Why not?
Happy Tuesday, and thanks for joining us for Fox 10 Talks. I'm Christina Carilla with Marc Martinez.
Yeah, Steve Nielsen is off today, so I'll be filling in. We've got a lot to talk about today.
Yeah, thanks for being here.
The news cycle, I feel like since the beginning of the year, has just been so busy. It's just crazy,
nonstop. I know.
Yeah.
Which, I mean, keeps it interesting.
It does,
for
yeah.
us, especially when you're coming into work every day.
It is
you
true.
want stuff to talk about for sure.
Yes, it is. It's going fast, but we've got a lot of it here to cover today and a lot of topics to talk about.
Yeah, so let's start with Nancy Guthrie. Of course, this search is still going on. We're in the fourth week now.
Right.
How many days
I
has
think
it
24.
been? 24
I
days.
believe 24 days, yeah.
So she's still missing. You know, the FBI, the Pima County Sheriff's Office, Sheriff's Department, they are still actively searching for her. And it's been kind of slowing down a little bit in terms of what we're getting news, like developments wise, leads wise. We're not learning a lot. In the beginning, we started to get some pieces of this, of what's going on. We got the surveillance images, and that was like a big break in this case. And then things started, trickling.
Yeah, I think we all kind of were thinking when they released that surveillance video that maybe it would lead to something quick as far as an arrest. I mean, obviously you couldn't see the person very well, but that maybe somebody would recognize the clothing or the way the person walked or...
And the backpack, they mentioned that.
It sounded like it was kind of promising. Then the DNA didn't turn up anything as far as in the database. So, and they're saying that searching for that mixed DNA or trying to find out who that may belong to, that's going to take quite a while.
Yeah.
So we are sort of really kind of in a holding pattern there. And a lot of the national media has started to depart Tucson. So, slowing down there as well. The sheriff hasn't had a news conference in a very long time.
Yeah.
We have a crew down there today who said that, the streets are blocked off now in front of her house, only
Right.
residents allowed in. And so
One-way street now.
One-way street, yeah.
There's barricades. So, a lot of the media can't even set up shop there anymore.
Right.
So,
yeah. And I feel like now, unless there's a major development soon, there's just not, like we were saying, there's just not much to report on. Again, 84-year-old Nancy Guthrie, who's been missing for now 24 days. And Savannah Guthrie posted a new video today on social media. She's hoping for a miracle in this case, announcing a $1 million reward now from the family for information that leads to Nancy. So let's go ahead and listen to that sound right now.
Please keep praying without ceasing. We still believe. We still believe in a miracle. We still believe that she can come home. For that reason, we are offering a family reward of up to $1 million for any information that leads us to her recovery. So please, if you hear this message, if you've been waiting and you haven't been sure, let this be your sign. So please come forward, tell what you know, and help us bring our beloved mom home so that we can either celebrate a glorious, miraculous homecoming or celebrate the beautiful, brave, and courageous and noble life that she has lived.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is the most emotional we've seen her in these videos. She just seems defeated at this point.
I think so much time has passed. Obviously, still very shocking, but they've had a lot of time to kind of deal with, process what has gone on here.
Yeah.
That is, I think, the most sort of resigned that we've heard her to say that this likely will not have a very good outcome as far as getting Nancy Guthrie home alive.
Yeah.
Obviously still holding out hope, asking people to pray, but also saying if it is the worst situation, they sound like they just want to know, obviously, one way or another, what has happened here.
Right,
and
right.
if she's not alive anymore, at least let them have a proper ceremony to honor her life and remember her.
Yeah, she was really, close with God, and the family's religious, and of course they want to celebrate her life, and so they just want her back. It's just so sad to see. I think a lot of people are wondering, why didn't the family put up this money in the beginning? Why wait until now? We've gone 24 days.
And I was reading about that. Did you see that as well?
Yes, so they were probably advised in the beginning.
The authorities told them not to do it right away.
Hostage negotiators and the experts are saying probably. I mean, we don't know what's going on behind closed doors, but they were probably advising against that.
Yeah, that's what I read too. We probably read the same thing where it said that people who have dealt with this kind of situation, the experts, the negotiators, the federal authorities were saying, don't offer that right away. I don't know, how that all works, what the logic is behind that. But there's obviously some psychology that they were using and trying to figure out the best way to handle this with whoever may have had her.
Yeah.
And also, no proof of life had been provided. So at that point, you don't know who you're giving this money to. You never probably would anyway. But if you're going to give that money, you want to make sure you get your mother back.
Of course, yeah.
So,
and with, the ransom notes and all of that, there was still no, it's just so bizarre, this whole thing. But the ransom notes, there was no communication line set up for the family that we know of to communicate with this so-called captor, as they were saying in the ransom note. So you just don't, how are they even, in the beginning, they were probably thinking, well, there's no way, we can't just hand over the money to this unknown person,
right.
So
and not get anything out of it. So get your loved one back. So that is the latest there from Tucson. And again, we've got a crew down there in case there is any development in the case. We're kind of still going down there to monitor it. It's a couple hour drive away from Phoenix, but it does feel like the urgency is kind of waning a bit now that it's gone on for so long. The authorities, of course, they're not slowing down. They're still tracking everything down. But with for us in the news business, without anything new
Developments.
to cover,
Yeah.
it becomes here we are, day 25, and still not,
Yeah.
to be tomorrow. And
The moment it changes, of course, we'll
yes.
report on it and you'll see it here. But
absolutely.
But for now, yeah, it's diminishing a little bit in terms of coverage. Okay, so let's get to, we're going to switch gears a little bit. Talk about Punch the monkey.
Yes.
This guy is everywhere. Everyone's talking about him.
Everyone is obsessed with Punch. You told me today when we got into the newsroom, if you Google Punch the monkey.
Yes.
And I did, and you get these little hearts that come down
with his picture,
with his face in the middle
yes.
of it.
Yes, it's everywhere. And the IKEA stuffy that
sold out.
The surrogate mom sold out everywhere, going on eBay for like $100. Huge markup.
Yeah.
So joining us now to talk about kind of all of this big story right now, Professor Alison Behie, head of anthropology at Australian National University. Thank you so much for being with us.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, so Punch the monkey is a viral sensation now. This brings up the question, what is going on here? Why was he abandoned by his mother?
So based on the information from the zookeeper, he was abandoned from his mother because she was a first-time mom. She was inexperienced and undergoing a great deal of stress due to heat, as my understanding. So the climate was very hot, something unfamiliar. And we do see that occasionally. It's very unusual, but it can happen with inexperienced young mothers that are undergoing a great deal of stress, that they just abandon that baby and sort of prioritize their own survival.
Well, and for those who are watching now, just a little bit of background of Punch. She was born in July of 2025 and then abandoned soon after. So the zookeepers there hand-raised Punch, and he's a macaque, a snow monkey at the Ichikawa City Zoo in Chiba, Japan. And now I have seen, you've probably seen the same video of people lining up for hours at the zoo to get a look at Punch. I mean, talk about a huge celebrity. Do you think, though, that this is gaining interest for people as far as finding out more about this particular type of monkey? I mean, it's gone so viral now.
I think there's a risk actually with this. So anytime we see sort of a cute little primate or a baby monkey go viral, we see a spike in interest in keeping these animals as pets.
Yeah.
And they're obviously shouldn't be pets. And that's a contribution to declines in the wild of these populations. So that's actually my biggest concern with this, is that there's already been sort of Andrew Tate and other people saying they want to buy the monkey. And that is my biggest concern, is that it will actually lead to individuals thinking they should have them as pets.
So monkeys are so closely related with humans, obviously. This situation with mom abandoning him, is this kind of like a new mom, a human mom, when they have that disconnect with their child, when they're a new mom, inexperienced, there's something that happens, maybe it's hormonally. Is it kind of similar in that way?
I don't really like to link that up to humans too much. But it likely was a sort of a biological response in the animal for whatever reason. And the difference between humans and non-human primates and the monkeys is that humans often will have the support, right? So there'll be somebody to step in and care for the infant. And so it's just a different social organization. That very rarely happens outside of humans. Very rarely we do see adoption within a group where an infant that has been abandoned or their mother has died is sort of taken on by another female in the group, but that is unusual. And so that's sort of the key difference, is that in humans, we would have somebody to sort of step in and help and get, the mother through that period, whereas in non-human primates, that doesn't happen.
And, I think part of the reason why this went so viral is because Punch carrying around that IKEA stuffy, which again is now sold out. But if you could talk about that real quick, why Punch has bonded so well with this inanimate object that he is now carrying around and sleeping on and all of that.
Well, I think, to your point, they're very closely related to humans, and they're social animals, and they rely on their moms, and they have this instinct to want to be attached to something. And so there was experiments done, not ethically, way back in the 1950s, where monkeys were taken away from their moms and they were given sort of cloth figures and wire figures, and they bonded very well to the cloth figures. They were treated to them when they were scared. So the cloth, it is reassuring to them. It is something that is like their mother, that is comforting, they can snuggle up to, that has the right feel, but it's not going to give the right response back. So there is still a risk in terms of how Punch would sort of develop in terms of anxieties and fear responses and those things that you really need that mother figure to help you through.
There was also a video that came out too showing Punch being kind of roughed up by some other monkeys after the fact. Did they sense what was going on and kind of reject him too, or what was that about, do you think?
I think that's actually a really normal behavior for a Japanese macaque. So Japanese macaques live in a very linear dominance hierarchy that's based on matrilineal. So higher ranking families will show dominance and aggression towards lower ranking families. And it's just a way to maintain that sort of status quo. So it could have just been a normal sort of, we're going to show you aggression to sort of put you in your place. So even if Punch's mother was around, that same behavior could have been occurring. So I'm not as concerned about that, because it is sort of a somewhat regular sort of showing of aggression is quite normal in the species.
Well, Professor Alison Behie, thank you for joining us and clarifying that part. We were all feeling bad for Punch. We're like, oh my gosh, now he's getting bullied on top of everything else. So glad to know that it's not.
Is this something that a lot of people are talking about at the school? Like, is this coming up a lot?
Not so much in the university setting, but certainly in the press, there's been lots of sort of interview requests. There's been lots of stories. It's been a real, as you said, viral phenomenon. So I think the one thing I would say is that although we've seen, that aggression, Punch is where Punch needs to be, which is with his group of Japanese macaques. And my understanding is there's already been sort of showing some signs of grooming and acceptance of him into the group. So that's sort of what I would say.
All right,
well,
Professor, thank you so much for spending some time with us.
That.
Yeah, we appreciate it.
We'll be right back.
We are talking about Mexico now. So parts of Mexico still under a travel advisory because of cartel violence that's been happening there after this drug lord on Sunday was killed there in the Jalisco area. Huge drug lord in Mexico, and the U.S. shared some intelligence actually with Mexico to get this guy. The U.S. actually had a bounty on him as well.
Yes, top cartel leader really in the region there. So a lot of chaos is continuing there. Travelers who were there in some of those really, popular tourist areas,
Puerto Vallarta,
and I think some of the other areas right around there. Mm-hmm. You'd see the fires, the military helicopters. They were going down there for vacation and then shelter in place.
Could you imagine? You're on vacation in this beautiful place, and then all of a sudden there's cars on fire, gas station on fire, Costco,
and you can't get out.
Yeah.
You can't leave it. So the shelter-in-place order for a lot of the people there. And at least 73 people are dead, including 25 members of the Mexican National Guard there. after the drug lord Elemencho was captured and killed, rather. So quite a situation playing out there. We did talk to some travelers just recently, within the past couple of hours, who were able to get back in from Puerto Vallarta here at Sky Harbor Airport.
Yes, thankfully. But for a while there, it was looking like, when is this going to lift? Flights were canceled. People were not coming in and people were not getting out.
Yeah, and you didn't want to leave your hotel. I mean, that's the thing. You don't know what's going on the streets down below. So that scary situation.
Yeah.
And our Irene Snyder was out at Sky Harbor earlier today, and she's got more on what those travelers are dealing with. Let's take a listen.
Several of those flights resumed to Puerto Vallarta just this morning, some of the earliest ones taking off around 7 o'clock this morning. We had some delays. Obviously, we had cancellations yesterday, but they're back up and running today. Now, the airport itself is a very different story from yesterday. Things didn't seem too crowded here when I was out here yesterday, but as we mentioned, there were more than 50 flights canceled and more than 30, I think it was nearly 40 delayed flights as of yesterday morning. Now today, a lot of more open flights. We talked to a lot of people out here. We managed to catch up with a few people who are heading to different areas of Mexico, and they were telling us initially they were a little bit hesitant about going to the country at all, but ultimately they decided it was worth the risk to go.
We heard that they got the kingpin of the cartel, and the cartel was, they were bombing, burning buses and whatnot. So we just watched the news and sort of got informed on what was going on down there, and looked at the State Department's websites and figured out that it wasn't where we're going.
Yeah, and a lot of those travelers say that they're excited to go. They're obviously going to be careful when they get into the country. But, that's something, the two people that we spoke with, in fact, so they've been to Mexico several times. They have friends who live there. They've been in touch with friends who live in the area and said, hey, we think it's going to be all right for us to go. But again, several of those flights resumed here this morning directly from Phoenix to Puerto Vallarta and other areas of Mexico throughout the morning and the afternoon. But things are moving pretty smoothly here at Phoenix Sky Harbor Airport. For now, we're going to send it back to you guys.
Yeah, many of those flights resumed. People were getting where they're going. People are still going, which is interesting. I mean, they do say, right, when you're on hotel property in these big resort areas, you tend to be a lot safer, right? But getting from the airport to the resort, to me, that's still the dicey part.
Right. And have you been to Puerto Vallarta before?
I haven't.
It's a drive from the airport.
Same thing in Cancun.
Yes, you're not. It's not right around the block. It's not even a 5-minute drive. It is about an hour actually to get to where most of the hotels are, and there's lots of traffic. I mean, you're in congested areas and things like that. So that could be dicey. That man at the end of that said that it wasn't really where he was going. So Mexico's a big place, so maybe he was going to a different part of the country. But traveling to Puerto Vallarta right now, I don't know. I think if I had the ability to cancel my plans, I probably would, just to let things.
I think a lot
cool
of
down.
people. I have friends of mine were planning to go to Cancun the end of this month, and they canceled. So even there, and that's on the complete opposite side. That's so far from Puerto Vallarta, but still, I think. Yeah, I mean, it's in the Mexican government's best interest, right, to get things under control quickly.
Sure. Because
they rely on tourism.
Tourist dollars are huge.
Yeah, they need that money, so they don't want people to stop traveling.
No, no, not at all. And I had some friends that were down there when all this happened, and they were trying to scramble to figure out how they were going to get out, looking at other airports nearby. And then the hotel kind of told them, just stay here. Things will get back up and running shortly, hopefully, at the airport. And it did, so they'll be flying back. But not the kind of way you want to spend your vacation, that's for sure. But you would never are going to know that that's going to happen. I mean, this took everyone by surprise.
Yeah, and if you look in the groups on like social media and things like that, people at resorts, they still, if they're not looking at their phone to see what's going on, they don't know what's going on. They're like on the beach drinking a margarita. It's all fine here, so I don't know.
Yeah,
but
maybe that's the kind of time that you just kind of tune out and just enjoy your time. And if it's not directly right around you, you can make the most of it.
Yeah, but scary.
Yeah, it is. And coming up at 4 o'clock, at 4:30, I'll be on the news talking with some people who just got back. So we'll hear from them to see what they had to say about that experience and how scary it was there.
Yeah. All right. So something else that's happening today at 7 o'clock Arizona time, 9 o'clock East Coast time. The president is speaking for his State of the Union, his first of his second term.
Boy, 9 o'clock's a lot. That's late to start the State of the Union,
Because it's going to go long.
It'll go long.
Yeah.
Yeah, he likes to talk. I think the question's going to be is if he goes off script or if he just sticks with, what's written there.
He's not known to stick to the script.
He's not known for that.
So we'll see how long it goes. But he has already said himself that it's going to be long.
Yeah. And lots of topics for him to talk about.
Yeah.
There's so much going on. So obviously, the economy will be a big topic. What's going on with Iraq will be a top. I mean, there's just so many
Iran,
things
the tariffs were shot down recently.
Yes.
And he has said he's still going to push through with that somehow, some way. So it'll be interesting because if any of them attend, they will likely be up front. And so he will be talking about that right to them, possibly.
Yeah, that's true. And they will be sitting up front. That's where John Roberts and the crew usually sit.
Yeah, so it could be interesting.
And there are several Democrats that have said they'll be boycotting this.
Yes.
And Yasmin Ansari, a representative from Arizona, and I believe Ruma Gallego also said he's not going to go.
Adelita Grijalva as well. They are boycotting. But Mark Kelly is going to attend, he says.
Yes. Yeah, he said that he'll be there, heading to Washington tonight for the State of the Union. He'll be there with a fellow Desert Storm veteran named Martin Sepulveda, who's a seventh-generation Arizona who served in combat, who led in local government and founded his own veteran-owned business.
Yeah, so that'll be interesting. He said his quote was, "Can't intimidate me or stop me from doing my job, standing up for Arizona and the Constitution." That's what Mark Kelly said on attending the State of the Union tonight. So he will be there.
And it's going to... Oh, do we have sound with him or just video of him? Okay, just video of him. So, yeah, he's heading out there with his guest tonight. And...
yeah, so we'll see what happens. Again, that happens at 7:00. And the last time he did an address like this, it ran an hour and 40 minutes. So I wonder if he's going to try to push that even more so with this one and break some kind of record. We will see.
He might.
Yeah.
I mean, he doesn't seem to have a problem, going on with his speeches and going long. And he does like to riff a little bit and go off script. Quite a lot, actually.
Yes.
So we could see that as well.
Giving a speech of this magnitude, I mean, obviously there's a teleprompter.
Yeah.
But does he ever reach? I haven't noticed before. Does he ever reach down to grab some water? Imagine talking for that long.
Yeah. He's got it there next to him, but I don't. He certainly doesn't drink it as much as Marco Rubio, drinks the water, which he's kind of talked about that before.
Yes, right.
But yeah, you'll get dry mouth after talking that long. We always, even out on the news desk, we have our waters standing by.
I'm just thinking about it now. I'm starting to feel parched after talking for 24 minutes, and I'm like, ooh.
Yeah.
How does that go?
But and I have not. So there will be a rebuttal, of course, afterward.
Yes.
On the Democratic side, and that's always interesting to watch. You got two very different sides to what's going on in the country.
Yeah.
Here's our question of the day. Now, Mike Johnson, the Speaker of the House, did say that he thinks everyone should show up, all the elected leaders, that it was a kind of a dereliction of their duty to not show up. So we asked, is it disrespectful for senators and reps not to attend the President's State of the Union? And overwhelmingly, Tina, 88% said yes, whether you like them or not, it is part of your job, show up.
Yeah.
And then 11% say, no, I'm glad they're not going. It's just a long campaign speech. And 1% said it's not disrespectful, but they should attend. So, and we do remember in the past when Joe Biden was president, do you remember when Marjorie Taylor Greene yelled at him? And,
yes.
So there's been outbursts before.
Yes. People sometimes bring signs. You know, they're trying to send some kind of message. I'm sure that will happen tonight, too.
Right. And you're always going to see supporters of the president standing up and clapping, every 30 seconds when he makes a point.
Every 30 seconds.
And then the other side will sit there with their arms crossed, and then when he says something that both sides might like, then the other side is kind of like, if it's Democrats, they might, well, should I clap for this?
Right.
It is such an interesting dynamic that
they
goes
mouth
on there.
words with their lips too. When the camera pans, they know they're on camera.
I just think it's interesting if we get into start this thing of boycotting the State of the Union. Will now more join next time? I mean, and then pretty soon you're just going to have Republicans there or Democrats, depending on who's the president.
Right. And then what does that do?
Yeah. Then it's just a pep rally.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
So that's my only thing with that is like, if groups start not showing up, and then it really is just going to be, it could be just whatever president's in power, that's who they're speaking to, is their Democrats or Republicans.
It's a way to get out of a long night, though.
It is true. I think that's the excuse that I would be. Like, it's getting past my bedtime.
I don't know. Bedtime is coming quick.
So that's going to be at 7:00 tonight.
Yeah, we will air it on Fox 10 in its entirety. Yes, so that will go. You will see that there, and then the news, of course, will still be happening on Channel 45 concurrently.
Yes. Yeah, and
if that happens.
And I'm not sure what our streaming is tonight because of this, but I believe we'll probably have it on our YouTube channel and all over the place.
Yeah.
So that's going to be interesting. Yeah, the president somehow, he's got that stamina to keep going, and
that is not an easy. First of all, he's under all those lights in front of so many people, but then televised as well. There's just, so many different.
And the dynamics too, in this case, you'll have Leader Thune behind him and Mike Johnson, so they're both in the same party. But in the past, when you've had a different party, like Nancy Pelosi famously
watching the facial expression,
ripping up
ripping it up,
or when one will just sit because it's not their party, So we won't have that tonight. So at least all three up there will be on the same page. So there we go.
All right. Well, I think 15 seconds.
Right.
All right, we've reached the end of the